8-8, the Lion's Gate. Another memorable shift happened with my Hawaiian beloved. I reached out to talk to him about our kitty, and he responded to me in victim mode, saying, "My heart is destroyed, I'm alone, struggling, and I want to give up." I felt the negative energies go right into my gut. I felt sick to my stomach again, right back to where I'd been trying to heal from our breakup. The rest of the day, I moped around, no energy, feeling down, and feeling all sorts of emotion, mostly guilt and sadness. On Karma's evening walk, the nature, the elementals, and my higher self communicated with me. Hawaii was working her magic, making it hard for me to stay in a bad mood. As I was walking Karma, I observed the amazing beauty all around me. I gave thanks to the Aina and this magical land. I realized I was living my dream life and that I had worked so hard to create. I was tired of feeling sad and bad. No more. I'm not going down that road again, especially when it's not my stuff. It was HB's stuff to work out. I am not responsible for his happiness or anyone else's. I am not wasting one more second of my beautiful dream life feeling bad and sad, I declared, cutting the air. As soon as I did, I felt the heavy emotions leave my gut and my body. I felt light again. I continued, I choose my emotions and I choose to be happy. And so it is. Aho. It was an amazing shift and it lasted. I went to bed feeling proud of myself, acknowledging this huge accomplishment. I think that praising yourself is another component that is crucial in self-love, healing, and evolution. We praise our closest friends, so we should do this for ourselves. We must become our closest and dearest friend and our greatest cheerleader. Acknowledge your small victories. I am the chooser of my emotions. Tsunami Soulfire. Then there's this. There were many times when I had no control of my emotions when I was with HB. One particular moment stands out as the tsunami of all Soulfire tsunamis. It was Christmas time 2020, and we were back at his cabin hoping to spend a nice time together without fighting. Even though we both had the same intention, there were higher forces at work. He and I were going at it over something little. You know how those arguments start. They're really not about the half and half, but something deeper. This argument escalated from cream for coffee to everything that was wrong with each other. Our pain bodies were in full activation. When I got out of control and was too loud for him, his pattern was to say, "This conversation is over, I'm done," and clam up. That would only make me even more furious because I wasn't done speaking and he was being controlling and shutting me down. I hated that reaction with every ounce of my being. What was even worse was when he yelled at me to shut up. I went into a rage like the female version of the Incredible Hulk. I had no control of my emotions. All I could see in my vision was red, literally. I was screaming things at him that I don't even know what I said. It felt like I was screaming and yelling for all the me's and all my lifetimes and timelines and all my incarnations that were subservient. For all the times a man told me to shut up, stifle my voice, stuff me in a dark room, and diminish my light. I was like a fire-breathing dragon. At that moment, I knew it too. I knew I was going to clear some heavy-duty karma and archetypes. It was time, and I had the awareness in the back of my mind. Shush me no more. It was ugly, but necessary. Later, when the storm calmed, I apologized to him and tried to make amends. It always seemed like I was the first and sometimes only one to apologize. He accepted my apology, but withheld his affection toward me for the rest of the trip. While I understood, it still hurt me to the core. That is not something I can handle too well. There was a silver lining to this tsunami Soulfire. The explosion led me to help me heal the timelines that were still a live wire in my Akash. Again, he was the catalyst to my deep, deep healing. Healing the Akash. Right after that outburst, I woke up in the middle of the night, bolted straight up in bed, heart pounding with fear and anxiety as I sat in the dark. I said to myself, I'm here again. I knew deep down that something was not right. It was a week later when I learned about the active timelines that still needed healing. I came to learn that I was healing 4 timelines at once with my HB, ours, and 3 others. When will it end? When I learned about the 3 other timelines that were still active in my Akash, or Book of Life, it made sense and I understood myself better. In the first timeline, I gave all of myself to a man I loved. He, in turn, locked me in a dark room and kept me a secret because he had another family and life. I was reliving this out now with my HB. Not that he locked me in a dark room, but aspects of the patterns from that timeline were bleeding over. In the second timeline, I was a famous healer in the Far East trained by a master healer. He put me behind glass on display and stood behind me as I did healings. When he didn't like my interaction with a man, he secretly took away my healing powers. I did not know he was taking away my power, so I started to doubt myself and my healing abilities. I finally understood why I carried so much self-doubt when I began to become an energy healer in this lifetime. In the third timeline, I was a genius mathematical savant and had notebooks of equations that would help me heal the world. I lived in an era where women were suppressed and had no voice. A man from my religious community knew about my notebooks and came to my library demanding I give them to him. When I refused, he took out a knife, slit my throat, and killed me. Thanks. What do all the timelines have in common? The same karmic patterns I brought into this life: subservience, allowing others to control me, allowing people to manipulate me and diminish my light, self-doubt, no voice, taking the blame, second-guessing myself, and believing that it was my fault, because that is what unhealed mirrors project upon you. Many of us are clearing ancestral traumas and patterns that have been carried for lifetimes and centuries. The trauma is stored within our cellular memories as well as around us in our aura as negative, persistent thoughts. This is important to be aware of when you start doing this type of work and healing. It can be exhausting. Be gentle and extra kind to yourself. I learned how to heal these active timelines by sitting with each one, feeling her or my pain, mourning, then when I felt ready, rewriting a new ending with pen to paper. It was profound. I spent the first part of 2021 doing this inner work. The last timeline I healed was the one with the relationship with my Hawaiian beloved, and it was the hardest. Another quote from Metatron. If the illusion of 3D did not feel real, you would not learn. Indeed, the pains you feel, the joys you experience are real and serve your growth and expansion. Masters, nothing is final, all is dynamic. Each of you can change the past as well as the future. That is why when we work with the Akash and rewrite our stories and incarnations, we change the past. Because the highest truth is time does not exist in linear time. In the multiverse, there is only the now moment, so it is possible to change your past. Nothing is set in stone. All is changing and dynamic, especially you. Change and rebirth are not always pretty. In fact, it's ugly, messy, painful, and scary. It's okay if you have these reactions. Try not to judge yourself. This doesn't mean it's okay to go around screaming and yelling and unleashing your anger on others. Sometimes it happens, and sometimes it could be a very powerful wake-up call. Anger is a strong emotion. Used for good, it can be the catalyst for change. Individually and collectively, women are going through a massive rebirth. We have been silent, our voices stifled, our lights diminished, our talents gone unheard for way too long. This is the time of the awakening of the divine feminine, not in a bitchy way, but in a kind, caring, fierce, and powerful way. We are becoming nurturing warriors and the lights of the world. There is no stopping the divine feminine. Aho.